welcome to another episode of the Hop Nerd Live. The phone lines are open, 480-877-0155. I'm watching the comment sections. I'm checking your DMs. I've got my finger hot and ready on the answer button on my phone, taking your questions, talking all things human and organizational performance, safety, business, and life. We're talking shop and everything else here on the Hop Nerd Live. Hello, howdy, hi everybody. It is Sam Goodman, the Hop Nerd, bringing you a really kind of weird and wacky Hop Nerd episode because it's Monday, right? It's not Wednesday. It's not Friday. It's Monday. At least I think it's Monday. So I kind of got this wild hair that I wanted to do a live stream, and I'm going to try to do some of these kind of daily right now. I don't want to commit to that, so please don't take that the wrong way. I don't know. I just don't want to commit to that. But I'm going to do them as much as I possibly can right now because we're all kind of sort of locked away. We're distanced. Nobody's getting out to have any fun. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But before we do, make sure you head over to the website, www.thehopnerd.com. Follow along on all things social media at The Hop Nerd. That's a good place to find me, except for Twitter. You got to find The Hop Nerd one, but nobody really likes Twitter that much anyways, right? At least not me. I don't know. I'm just not that big of a fan. Make sure you follow me on YouTube because I'm streaming this through YouTube, through Facebook, through all kinds of other places. But if you want to go back and watch this thing, it's usually on YouTube. On our Wednesday and our Friday episodes, I take those and I upload those to the podcast too. So if you're cruising around and you just want to listen to this lovely voice and whoever else I have in here, you can jump on there and take a listen. So it's a lot of fun. Last episode, our late night show that we had on Friday, I had my guy, my dude, my man, Jarrell Belongi on here, my significant other, talking all things COVID-19, which was kind of cool. We're going to do that on the Wednesday show again. So Wednesday at 5, he's going to be back here. Jarrell Belongi, RN, Director of Nursing, all that kind of fun stuff. He's going to be back here, and we're going to be talking kind of COVID stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Again, this is your show. Feel free, give me a call, shoot me a text, all that kind of fun stuff. Use the phone number 480-877-0155. You can text me questions here. You can give me a call. I'm not super fancy yet to where I have this awesome kind of call thing set up to where I can just patch it through yet. I haven't quite got there, so it'll probably be more of something like this if you do decide to call me. But yeah, make sure you send us your questions, all that kind of stuff. We're talking human and organizational performance. We're talking safety. We're talking life. We're talking everything. We're talking shop. We're talking everything else in between. Again, the main shows come out on Wednesday, 5 p.m. That's Arizona time. The late shows, and I call them late because most of you guys that tune into me are back east. I got some of my my next biggest segment of folks that tune in and listen to the pod and all that kind of fun stuff are my Brisbane folks, my Vegas folks. So I see you. I'm always trying to think of my times to kind of cater it around all those folks. But Friday is at 8 p.m. Arizona time, which is pretty late for the East Coast. But yeah, that's when that happens. The podcast comes out every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. You can find that anywhere that you find podcasts. And please tune in. Before we go any farther, I kind of got this cool pandemic haircut. I had blonde hair for a while, and so now you can't really see that too much in the camera angles. Let me see if I can change it up and see if you can get any better view of this sweet hair. There we go. I'll just lose the cameras altogether. There we go. Check out that sweet pandemic hair. I'm prepared. I don't know about you guys. How's everybody doing out there? I will tell you that I'm very prepared. I have got everything that I need. I've got the sweet pandemic hair. I have got a P100 full face respirator behind me here. And then I've also got my plague mask right here, ready to go. I thought about wearing this to Walmart and just just seeing how things went. I also thought about doing that with the full face P100, doing like a Tyvek suit, full face P100, do the whole things. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking P100, I'm talking this bad boy right here. So your little surgical masks don't really do anything, and I keep ranting about this. This actually will give you a little bit of protection, more than a little bit. This is like a lot of bit. And then if you just want to go full on scare the heck out of people, again, this I'm going to wear this to Sam's Club later, I think. Just cruise around with this in one of those like poke the dead sticks, like what you see from like the plague stuff. These things were super interesting. If you haven't looked up the history on the plague masks, they're kind of cool. I got a hold of this bad boy. It's clearly fake, right? It's not very cool. It's just like Halloween prop. But it's sat on my shelf at home for a very long time, and finally I've had an opportunity to use it as kind of a sweet gag joke. But I like it. It's fun. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity to look up the history on these things, you totally should. They're pretty cool. So kind of back in the day, and I could be totally wrong, so do some wiki here if you want to. But back in the day, they associated bad smell with disease and infection and kind of not so great stuff. They thought if you smelled bad things, that's where the sickness came from, was the actual smell. So they would take these, and the beak would be stuffed with flowers and other things that smelt a lot better. And the thought process was that you would breathe through the smelly good flowers, and then you wouldn't get the plague. And I don't think it worked super good, but hey, it might have done something. Either way, it looks super scary. Makes for a great conversation piece to sit on your shelf. And as we go into this whole world of COVID-19, it makes it super fun, just to throw that bad boy on there, and just walk around and just scare folks at the grocery store like that. Look, if they can wear their stupid gloves, if they can wear their stupid nitrile gloves and surgical masks everywhere, this does just as much for you as a surgical mask would. It might do more. All right, this might actually do more. I won't pick on the gloves too much, but before they shut down all the gyms here in Arizona, and we'll get to that in a second, before they shut down all the gyms in Arizona, they everywhere I would go, I would see folks that had on these like loose-fitting, like PVC glove-looking things, that like food handler gloves, right? And then over top of the food handler gloves, they would have on like their workout gloves, and it was just hilarious. Eli Helbert, yeah, they thought sickness was passed by unclean air. They would put herbs and things in the beak. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, you said it a lot better than what I did. I was kind of rambling. You strung it together a little bit better. So yeah, they thought that it was through the unclean air, and the unclean air, I believe they associated that with bad smell. And I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, if you're thinking about that seems like it makes sense. And so, yeah, I didn't think about the herbs piece, but yeah, they would stuff herbs in their flowers, all kinds of different things that would basically smell better. And they thought that that's how they got rid of the unclean air. So it's pretty cool. If you haven't looked up like the plague stuff, it's, for those of you that know me and have watched some of the other videos, you know that I have this really like morbid curiosity with things. One of my favorite YouTube channels is Ask a Mortician, and if you're not watching Ask a Mortician, you should totally go check that out. It's a blast. Anything that has to do with that, again, I'm weird, right? I like to collect weird things like plague masks, and like books of the dead, and like all this kind of weird stuff. It's just kind of my thing. But again, how are you folks doing out there? I will tell you that I'm doing pretty good. Over the weekend, things got more interesting. I'm not sure what things look like for you guys, gals, whatever, whoever's out there. But I will tell you that for me, I think things got a lot more interesting here in the Phoenix area. Again, it drove me to make sure that I'm prepared with my sweet haircut. My daughter actually gave me this haircut, which was kind of super cool. I just kind of trimmed it up a little bit more and got it a little bit more mohawky, right? For those that didn't see, but she totally helped hook me up with this. But yeah, things got more interesting here over the weekend. Governor Ducey basically signed into effect several executive orders. Some of those basically, without getting into too much detail, I haven't read the stories exactly. I haven't read the orders. But basically saying that all non-essential things would practically close, right? We went out over the weekend doing some just general running around. I know, don't be out in the plague. but I had to get a couch. There's a couch in here now, which is kind of cool. We put a couch in here, so that's cool. I might see if I can spin a camera around in a minute and show you. But we put a couch in the Hop Nerd Studios. We're trying to get some other stuff. I got to get some other stuff in here. We need another desk and a couple other things. So we're running around trying to find stuff. So IKEA's closed. You can do click and collect. So we were doing some of that stuff. If you're familiar with World Market was open. We were running around doing some of that stuff, which was fun. World Market was one of the few that was open. That's actually where we found our couch. They were doing some pretty cool social distancing things, and I promise I'm getting back to the executive order stuff. But they basically were taping out like boxes on the floors to keep people 6 foot apart. Some were limiting the total number of patrons that were allowed. I think Virginia, I was watching some of your guys' it's not mine anymore. I don't live there. Watching your all's nutbag of a governor talk about some of that stuff, and basically saying that they were going to limit patrons in some certain businesses to 10 and some other things, which again is all smart, all kind of smart things. But basically, after we were looking at saying, we're going to get this couch, and they're basically saying, yeah, well, you can't come back and get it tomorrow because after this afternoon, we close at 8. This was on Saturday, so starting tomorrow, which was Sunday at the time, we're going to be closed. We're going to stay closed, and there's not going to be any coming to pick stuff up for God knows how long, because we have to close because of the executive order. A lot of what's happened in Arizona over the weekend is, again, non-essential businesses closed, gyms. Again, considered non-essential. Basically any gyms in counties that have had cases, and I live in Maricopa County, so we're a pretty large county. Maricopa is one of the larger counties in the country. Population-wise, Phoenix is top 5 largest cities in the country. Maricopa is the county that Phoenix is within. So all of our gyms have shut down, which kind of sucks, right? Pretty much all non-essential stores have shut down. The grocery stores are open. Certain things are open. Went to Sam's Club over the weekend. They actually had some stuff, so that was kind of sort of cool to see that some stuff was back on the shelves. But again, with some of those executive orders, the Arizona National Guard was mobilized, currently just helping to restock shelves in grocery stores of all things, which is kind of interesting to see folks out and about doing that. But it's been interesting. Again, things went from being semi-normal, other than not so much fun in the grocery store, to from Saturday till Sunday over this last weekend, things went from being kind of shut down to Arizona is dead shut down right now, at least in affected counties. I haven't pulled up our cases lately to see exactly the full number of cases that Arizona has, and I might pull that up here in just a second to take a look. This being an impromptu live stream, as I mentioned at the beginning, I don't have any notes. We're just winging this one. Again, I think a lot of us are kind of stuck working from home. A lot of us are kind of quarantined away, socially distanced, whatever you want to call it. And I just thought that it'd be fun to get on and see how everybody's doing for a little bit. So again, I'm going to try to do this here, there, everywhere. I'm not going to commit to saying it's going to happen every day. No, I have commitment issues. That's not going to happen. So at a very minimum, you will see me Wednesday and Friday in the podcast and all that kind of crap. But we'll try to do this as much as possible. But with all that being said, again, Arizona is really tightening up. I mean, you go out. I went out at rush hour this morning. So I went out at rush hour, had to do some things, right? Still, there's still work to do. There's still things that have to happen, right? As many of you out there know, you're still working, right? Stuff still has to get produced. In my industry, power still has to be generated, right? That's probably a good thing. All that still sort of has to happen. So I was out at rush hour this morning, and there was no cars. I mean, it was pretty much nothing out there. Absolutely nothing out there. So rush hour in Phoenix is usually not nearly as bad as rush hour in other cities. Phoenix is pretty well thought out, at least, compared to most. But today, I mean, it was dead nothing. Absolutely nothing. So it's really interesting to see it go from being kind of normal to not normal really fast in such a short period of time. Again, I shared with you before, it started out with just kind of some grocery shortages, some stuff like that. And when I say shortages, I don't mean scary grocery shortages. I mean like, just not being able to get much choice, not being able to find fresh stuff, not being able to find stuff like that. I can insert a nice political joke here, but I won't. basically one brand of this, and you don't get to choose what you get type of stuff. But it went away really, really fast. And then grocery stores kind of stocked back up, and things are pretty normal, other than certain limits and things like that. So let's just be honest, people are assholes. There's still people out there that are trying to hoard up a bunch of crap. There's still people out there trying to hoard up toilet paper, kind of panic hoarding and stuff like that. But it jumped from that to things just being dead ass shut down really, really, really quick, which is pretty interesting. Eli Halbert, my work, a pressure vessel manufacturing facility, just gave us an exemption from travel restrictions. They use a loophole that we provide oxygen tanks for hospitals to keep us open. I don't care because I can't work from home, but it seems a little shady. We have to keep it on us in case we get pulled over. We can still travel. Yeah, that's, I'm seeing some similar things. I can tell you, I can speak to kind of organizations that I'm around and organizations that I see. Most of what I'm seeing happening, at least at companies, is just symptom checks. That seems pretty common to see symptom checks happening. Basically, you show up to work. They're going to ask you some questions. They're going to say, "Hey, have you been on a cruise in the past 15 days? Have you traveled to any of the countries listed on this list?" And it's usually level 3 countries, from the CDC. You guys can go look at that information. Again, I'm going to keep pushing you towards the CDC information. That's insert a little bit of a rant here, but screw the news. Go to the CDC, right? Pick your poison with news. Again, I don't get political with this crap. Pick your poison with your news. There's a huge super news break flash, boom, something bad happened every 3 minutes, and none of it's important. It's just sensationalized bull crap. So go to the places, go to the World Health Organization, go to the CDC, go tune into places where you can actually get good information. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of the similar kind of stuff happen here, for places that do have to work, coming in, asking, getting a questionnaire. Do you have any of these symptoms? Have you been around anybody that has any of these symptoms? Have you been on a cruise in the past 15 or 20 days? Have you traveled to any of these countries, level 3 countries from the CDC? And then basically a basic symptom check and temperature check. And if you fail any one of those, basically you're being sent home and not allowed to work, which is understandable, right? I think that's pretty understandable. Or if you've been around folks here. Ryan Street, no stopping here. Moving the freight at FedEx Express. Also got the travel authorization letter. Yeah, and that's a lot of what we're seeing. Again, similar here. Folks in the places that I'm associated with, they're still being permitted to work. Essential personnel, basically, are being permitted to work as long as they clear some pretty basic screening things, like have you been to China? If you've not been to China, if you've not been to Malaysia, if you've not been to Italy, if you've not been to certain places, and if you have not been on a cruise, you're pretty good as long as you don't have a fever. So that's the only thing that I'm seeing extra here, it seems like, is that they're doing temp checks basically at gates to make sure that folks don't have any temperature, which again seems to make a lot of sense if you're not you probably don't want folks that have a fever there right now. Probably makes quite a bit of sense with everything that's going on. But yeah, again, over the weekend, things in Arizona have dramatically have gotten a little more locked down. We're still free to travel, and I'm here right now. I've traveled from the house. The Hop Nerd Studios is about 15 minutes away from my house. So I traveled over here. Traffic's light, but again, unrestricted travel. I think that's probably the part that folks need to prepare for next, is probably at least a state by state lockdown. That could very well happen. Maybe, who knows? Countrywide lockdown, maybe, who knows, right? I don't see the National Guard getting mobilized just to help stock shelves. Call me conspiratorial here, but it just seems like who knows? Maybe, right? But I think things will escalate before they get much better. So it'll be interesting to see where it kind of goes next. FedEx, from Ryan Street, FedEx, are you breathing? Well, yeah, okay, cool, get to work. Yeah, I know some places like that for sure. What's crazy to me, I think, is that who's had that moment, right? We're very pampered and we're very spoiled, obviously, right? In the world that we live in, and it's very interesting to me, especially here in the Phoenix area. We have a lot. Most of our Amazon Prime stuff is like not only same day, but like you can get it in 2 hours, right? You click buy now, and it's on your doorstep in a couple hours, which is pretty wild, right? I mean, when you think about where we started, I mean, I can just think about most of you out there that tune into me. We're all kind of in the same age range. I can still think back to like the days of, at least a week shipping, 2 weeks usually, right? Things take a while. And then the whole Amazon Prime thing, we're like, holy crap, you can get stuff in 3 days, right? And then to kind of living in a hub here where Amazon's, massive hub in Phoenix, to where I can basically click now, buy now, and it's on my doorstep within a couple hours. Having that moment when you go to find something and you see that you just can't get stuff from Amazon, right? I think that's a pretty wild thing to do, is to basically to click on that and go, oh crap, I can't actually get anything, which is kind of wacky, right? We've not seen that in quite a while. I've got an Avery May Goodman standing behind me there. You want to wave to everybody? You gonna wave at this one? Wave at this one right here. Say hi. Hi, everybody. You gonna say hi? So that's part of what's going on here too, is basically the schools. Schools have been closed, daycares have been closed, all that's been closed in Arizona for the foreseeable future. I mean, I think for the rest of the academic year, which is pretty wild, to see. So most folks have kids that are staying here, working, hanging out with their parents while they're working from home, because most of us have been pushed to work from home, which is kind of sort of interesting. It's not something that's happened pretty recently. You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi to everybody? Hi. Don't trip and fall down. That would be bad. If you trip and fall down and take all the lights down with you, that would probably not be good. Cody Van Dyke, I smoked some weed lacing the coronavirus when I was in high school. Didn't kill me, just made me cry in the Kmart bathroom for a few hours. There you go. So you've already got the immunity built up. We found the person with the antibodies. So the government is going to come find you and extract those from you pretty soon, to start passing those around to everyone. What are you guys seeing out there? How's things looking on the in the grocery stores, in the good old Walmart, and all that kind of stuff? I can tell you, I'm having a little bit of a struggle on my camera. Is that kind of not so fun, is it? I can tell you that here again, it's been interesting. Things have gotten much better than from where they were. They continue to seem to get a little bit better. But as things continue, folks continue to panic. Man, I was in, I've said this, most of you have probably heard me say this, when you mix stupid with scared, you take stupid people and you scare the crap out of them, nothing too great seems to come from that. And I've still seen quite a bit of that when I was in the stores kind of over the weekend. I will say probably the funniest thing that I've seen in Phoenix is that folks continue to wear these stupid surgical masks. And I know I ran about it a lot. It's just hilarious and it's dumb. If you're doing that, stop doing that. It doesn't actually do anything. It gives you this really bad false sense of protection that you think you're actually protected against something. It doesn't protect you. So let's not do that. Quit buying those things on Amazon for whatever they cost, because it's like a fashion statement now, right? It's like the plague fashion. Folks like walking around in these really cool like screen printed surgeon's masks. It just looks stupid. But even just driving over here to the studios, I noticed that I'd seen like 6 people, like even down to like homeless people, like Venetian homeless people, walking down the street in these surgeon's masks, gloves and surgeon masks, and again, they don't do anything, right? I think, can we just get that out there, that there's a lot of myths that those actually protect you? This plague mask, again, will protect you more than those would. Get a respirator if you're going to do that, if you can find one. It probably works pretty good. Brad Lambert replying to Ryan Street. Same here. Got my letter to be able to go back and 4th through Virginia and West Virginia, Cintas has been deemed essential. I could see that. I could see Cintas being deemed essential. I can tell you that's some of the struggle that businesses are having right now. Is just getting supplies that they need. Some of the organizations that I'm associated with here in Phoenix, we rely on Cintas for stuff, especially just like general first aid supplies and different things like that. So I could see that. That's probably for sure needed and necessary. Most of the folks that I've communicated with in kind of general healthcare, most of those folks feel pretty comfortable with their stocks of stuff that they need or stuff that they have. It seems like in general industry that we're kind of running into some shortages, especially when it comes to respirators and cleaning supplies. That's the two things that I've noticed that folks have kind of run into issues with. Real respirators, P100s, N95s, those kind of things. It seems like we're still having a struggle to get those, and those are probably going to end up going where they need to go, which is to healthcare. It seems like the folks that do have those, they're being instructed to kind of ration them and use them maybe beyond their initial life, right, than what they should. I can speak to some of the folks that I know that are doing screenings, like health screenings for folks that are being issued N95s, and they're basically being told, hey, you need to wear these when you're done wearing them, when you're done interacting with people, take them off, reuse them, take them off, reuse them, take them off, reuse them. Kind of this whole compliance rules kind of stuff. Maybe some of our rules that work in the normal everyday kind of world might endanger us more now than what they do in just kind of the day-to-day stuff, right? Would you rather have a respirator that might be a little bit outside of its service life, or would you rather just trash it and say, well, compliance says, right? So it's kind of, the rules might hurt us more than what they help us right now. Flying under the radar, we are everywhere, and you never pay much attention until you need us. Well, I see. Like I said, I interact with some of your folks that are out here, at least, because they stock all of in my day job, at least, they stock all of our first aid cabinets, and they do a phenomenal job. So I will give mad props to them for all that they do for us. They keep us out of trouble and keep us stocked up with all kinds of stuff. So they do an amazing job. But yeah, I think that's probably what we're seeing. I think you drive a really good point there, Brad Lambert. Kind of what we were talking about with the Amazon example is we're not used to stuff not being there, right? We're not used to stuff not being there. We're used to being able to click the button, right? That was the big kind of holy crap, things are a little different moment for me, was basically not being able to just click my same day delivery Amazon button. Again, here in Phoenix, you can click same day, and it's usually right a couple hours. You got what you need, right? It's not a wait 3 or 4 or 5 days type of thing to get stuff. I was actually looking for a camera. I was looking for another camera to replace one that I've got here that kind of sucks, and I'll show it to you. It's this one. It's this one that kind of sucks. It's not I just don't like it that much. It's just not a great picture. So I was basically looking to replace this one. I was basically looking to replace this one and pick up another one. And good luck finding webcams right now. That's not going to happen. You're not going to find webcams right now because all the folks that are telecommuting working from home. I looked at Walmart. I looked at Target. I found one on Target in a store. The closest store that I could find them in was in Target. So that was kind of wild and crazy, right? Or the nearest one in Target was in Texas. Excuse me, it was in Texas. Not driving to Texas to get a webcam. Screw that. You guys will get stuck with this low def thing over here in a 3-camera setup until I can get it same day delivery on Amazon. But we're working on that. But just trying to get normal stuff that we don't normally think about, right? We just don't normally think about. I can't get a webcam, right? I can't click same day delivery on Amazon right now, right? And the stuff that was normally Prime that seems to be a couple days, now it's like a couple week delivery time, which is pretty wild compared to where we were just at, right? We were just at a place to where that was readily available for us. It was readily available, ready to go, click the button, all that stuff, to Brad's kind of point, that's happening in the background that we just kind of get spoiled with. Now all of a sudden it's not there as much, and people panic, people freak out. And again, I think you take stupid people and you scare them, and not good things. Not really great things happen. That's how cities get burnt down, right? it's not great. And I think that's what we've seen with a lot of the panic hoarding lately. As I kind of mentioned earlier, out and about, wandering through the stores, earlier this weekend before things kind of got shut down here in Arizona on Sunday. Sam's Club was still like nutty, right? I mean, it was still nutty. It's wild to see the amount of panic hoarding that goes on and the stupidity of it. And I'll describe that for you. You go into Sam's Club and folks are loading up to the limit on nitrile gloves, right? On latex gloves. You go to the aisle that has chips, right? Emptied, right? Loading up on chips. You go to the aisle that has beans and peanut butter and canned chicken and canned this, full, totally full, right? You go to the camping supplies, you go to the full, totally full. As long as I've got Twinkies and as long as I've got toilet paper, that's all I care about, right? Both seem like seems like a terrible idea for prepping, unless toilet paper becomes the next currency. The post-apocalyptic currency is going to be TP. I will trade you 1 or 2 plies for a can of beans, and we'll kind of barter things out that way. A couple pieces, half pieces, a half TP or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see in a couple weeks if toilet paper becomes the new currency of post-apocalyptic America. I think that'll be pretty interesting to see what happens. But yeah, so you're still seeing a lot of panic hoarding. At least I am here. It's interesting to see people kind of just out and about, right? We still have folks that are pretty polarized. I see a lot of folks that just don't care, right? That just don't care. I think that's going to be an interesting news article that continues to go on. I haven't read it in a minute, but even like with Rand Paul, we'll talk a politician here for a second that tested positive for coronavirus. The initial headline I seen, so this could have totally changed by now, but basically saying that after he tested positive, he still went and used the gym, he still used the pool, he still used all that stuff. So you still have folks that are kind of going, they're still just kind of going out and doing their thing. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild to see that some folks are either 100% scared to where they don't know what to do. They're almost paralyzed. And other folks are just to the point to where they're just, I don't know, some of them just don't even seem to believe it. Cody Van Dyke, a stupid person is the most dangerous thing on earth. I totally agree. I think the only thing that's more dangerous is if they're stupid and they're scared. And I think that's what makes times like this super, super duper scary. Is that we get up with a lot of folks that all of a sudden go, holy crap, I can't order my whatever on Amazon. So now I'm scared, and people freak out. Brad Lambert, you used to be able to get TP in the camping section. There's like an RV friendly. I found it at Walmart the other day, but I wonder how many. I don't think most people realize it. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. It's like the so not to get too graphic here, but it's like camp toilet paper. It almost disintegrates before you're done using it. It's like this really fast degrading, biodegrading toilet paper that basically goes away really quick. But yeah, that's true, right? I found some stuff with that too. I mean, it's interesting because if you people don't realize certain things. You go to I went to Walmart also over the weekend, and because I didn't need a pallet of everything, right? I didn't want to completely shop at Sam's Club. But I went to Walmart over the weekend, and you go into the cleaning section, and Clorox wipes gone, right? Completely gone. You go to around like Lysol spray, completely gone, right? There's shelves full of ammonia. That works pretty good. That's a pretty good cleaner, right? You go around the corner, and again, don't be stupid and mix these two type of thing, right? But there was bleach, right? 10 to 1 bleach solution kills pretty much anything you need it to kill. You go to the first aid section. There's jugs of iodine, right? There's jugs of there's all kinds of disinfectants. Again, I think it's to the spoiled piece. We don't realize that there's camp toilet paper. We don't realize that bleach is a cleaner, that it doesn't have to come on a pre-moistened wipe, right? It's kind of crazy to see how quickly folks have forgotten how to survive. I think that's a pretty interesting thing to see happening. But yeah, you go around the stores. There's still a little bit of panic there. There is water back that I have seen. There's food. There's all that kind of general stuff. You just can't be too picky with what you're getting. I guess I think that's probably the bigger thing right now. It's still pretty wild though. It's still pretty wild. I think it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes. That's probably, for me, that's the more interesting part. I think it's going to be, where does it all go? What's next? What's the next phase of this thing? What does that look like? And are we prepared for that? If I had to guess what the next phase is, I think you're looking at either complete state lockdowns, which I have or complete countrywide lockdowns, which I have a very scary feeling about that's going to turn violent very quick. Because people don't want to be told to stay home. And I get that. I totally get that. So unfortunately, the government only knows one language, and that's violence, right? That's force. The government is violence, right? That's how things get enforced, is through violence, right? Through force. And unfortunately, when you meet force, you're going to have it met back with force usually. So we'll see how things go. Unfortunately, we hope and we pray that that's not what happens. But we again, history will see what happens, I guess. Eli Helbert buying all the antibacterial hand soap and alcohol, but get the antibacterial dish soap all day. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I got a bidet made out of grass regular, right? Yeah, there you go. Exactly, right. Go take a quick, refreshing dunk in the river too. There's many ways there. I was listening to Joe Rogan just the other day, and they were talking about some of these, and they were tossing around some from kind of the obvious kind of leaves to magazines, to dude on there was even talking about like having to use a handful of gravel at some point. If you need to clean it, you'll find a way. Right? That's what we were talking about that. I was talking about that with some work friends the other day. It's like, most of you out there haven't had to take a dump in the woods, and it shows, right? I think it shows. You'll find a way. You shall find a way. I promise. At the end of the day, I'm much more worried about having water and food. That's kind of my main things. Water, food, and well, I don't know. I don't even know if I'll put it in this order. Let's say water, food, and caffeine. So in no particular order. As long as I've got one, hopefully all of those, I'm in pretty good shape for quite a while. But again, I'm interested in how things are going for you guys out there. Again, I have this handy dandy cell phone number here if I can find my phone. Feel free, call me 480-877-0155. Send me a text. I haven't even opened it up to look at the text. I was kind of browsing at the news, seeing if there was anything worth talking about on here. I haven't seen anything too newsworthy, at least anything that I'm willing to repeat. But yeah, again, I'm going to do these live streams. I have commitment issues. I'm not going to commit to doing them daily, but I'm going to try to at least hop on here and talk to you a little bit. I hope at least as much as I can. So every Wednesday at 5 p.m. we have the live stream. This Wednesday, my dude Jarrell is going to be back with me. Jarrell Belongi, RN. He's going to be back. So if you have questions that you would like to address towards a nurse, towards a healthcare provider, towards someone that's kind of more on the front line of this thing, that would be a really good opportunity from kind of planning and continuity and safety kind of stuff. Obviously, that's kind of more my wheelhouse. I've been dealing with this for, a month now. because business has been planning for this. Most businesses have been planning this for a while, so I can share with you anything that we know. So it's been a fun show. He was on the late night show on Friday, and so he's going to come back Wednesday to kind of help catch some folks that maybe don't want to be up that late, or most folks don't want to hang out and listen to my soothing voice on Fridays, as soothing as it is. But on Fridays we do have the Friday 8 p.m. late night show that we have. So again, Wednesdays at 5 p.m., Fridays at 8 p.m. That's both of those are Arizona time. I'm going to continue to try to do this as much as I can throughout the coming weeks. For those of us that are kind of squirreled away at home, this is kind of helpful. I'll be honest with you, this is probably more for me than it is for you, because I'm hidden away. It's social isolation and distancing is really, it's kind of weird. Right? We're not used to this. Most of us are pretty social creatures, I think. Even introverted folks. I'm one of those folks that I feel like I'm somewhere right in between. Right? It's completely situational. I can be extremely introverted. I can be extremely extroverted. It just varies with the situation. But then when you take out that option, now that option's gone, and you're just kind of going, okay, well, what do I do now? You can FaceTime. I found myself calling and FaceTiming way more lately than what I used to. As with most folks, I'm one of those, why the heck are you calling me? Well, you should have just texted me, right? I'm kind of usually more one of those. But I'm finding myself trying to FaceTime, finding myself trying to call a lot more. And I think this is fun. I think this is a really good opportunity to share information, to talk, to have fun, to get together. And again, we'll talk anything that you want to talk. You can call in. We'll gladly take that call. We'll sit around and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. I just got a text message from Eli here that I was just opening up. This is Eli. I couldn't send a photo on your live Facebook. This was shot in Logan, West Virginia, Saturday. I agree there's National Guard isn't going to stock shelf. There's more going on than we see. Yeah, exactly. So basically the photo. Let me see. Let me turn the cameras around here. I can show you really quick on the cameras. I think. Let's give this a shot. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hold on. Let me lean past the mic. So for those out there that are tuning in, that are going to be tuning in on the podcast, or maybe you're driving and just listening to this thing, it's basically a line full of Humvees there, armored. Let me put that out this way: armored up Humvees, basically sitting on a marathon, filling up with fuel. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably preparations for that, if I had to guess. Because let me put it this way: most organizations that I deal with that are even dealing with symptom checks, right? There's conversations being had around the fact that, well, if you're turning someone away at work, right? You're turning someone away at work, especially if it's somebody that, maybe they're not going to get paid because they're turned away, right? There's an opportunity for violence there pretty quickly, right? That could happen pretty quickly, and that might be the thought process behind it. Who knows? I mean, if we're going to go into a full statewide, countrywide lockdown, who knows? So I totally agree with you, Eli. I think there's probably more going on than what we see. I don't want to sound too conspiratorial with any of this stuff, but I just call stuff how I see it, and again. Stocking shelves doesn't seem to require a tank. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you need a tank to stock shelves. At least that's what the government says. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But I think we just have to wait. I mean, again, I think that we can only worry about what's inside of our control. I think that's the most important thing to realize. There's a lot of folks out there that are super stressed about what's going on. There's a lot of folks out there that are panicked about what's going on. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're worrying about things that are well outside of our control. I think that's a huge piece of it. We're really, really worrying about things that are outside of our control. And I think we need to kind of focus back in on that little circle of stuff that we actually have control over. Right? Right. I think that's, we have to shed some of this stuff of worrying. I think you need to be aware, but I don't think you need to worry. Eli puts on my tinfoil hat. I can put on my my respirator or my plague mask. I think that's this is the new version of the I can't do it with the headphones, but this is the new version of the tinfoil hat. I'm going to start coming to you live like this. I think with either this one, which is I think a lot more comical, or this one, which is much harder. I think it'd be much harder for you to actually have this. This conversation, but so no. To the point though is that I think you do need to be aware. You need to watch, right? Look, listen, be aware of what's going on around you. Find news from reputable sources. Pay attention, and then focus on the things that you can control. Right? You can't really focus in too much on and worry about a lot of that stuff that's said right now. Focus on being prepared but not panicked. Right? Focus on helping, not hiding. Again, that's my two kind of things that I keep repeating: is be prepared, not panicked. Help, don't hide. You can help and be distanced, right? You can still help. You can still call a neighbor and say, "Hey, do you have everything that you need?" I don't think that's that hard. I think that's probably something that's super important for us to do, is to reach out to each other to make sure folks have what they need. Make sure your neighbors around you have what they need. Make sure your family has what they need. I think that would be probably be a really good starting point to just asking folks if they have what they need, because there's probably going to be a lot of folks out there that don't right now. Right? I mean, there's going to be folks that have panic hoarded a bunch of the stuff. And there's going to be folks that might need a little bit of help. So think about those folks. Think about those folks that are a little more, maybe in a little more vulnerable age ranges, right? I'd shared with you, and I hope that they're doing it elsewhere. I think that they are, but at least here, we're starting to see that stores are opening early and giving certain age ranges shopping time, right? To say, if you're 60-year-old plus, then you get to you're going to have this window to shop in without everyone else, and you're going to be able to go out and you're going to be able to basically get the first pick of things and not fight with all of these assholes that are panic hoarding. Because I still seen that, right? I'm kind of telling you more of the story of my weekend, because other than it was like the big thing, right? So I was locked up here. I was locked up here in the studio for quite a while. And then I was locked up at home, and then all of a sudden I had the opportunity to go to Walmart, into Sam's Club, into World Market, and I got to go before everything shut down, which was awesome. So actually, like I said, I got to go to World Market. I got to get some cool stuff there, which is kind of fun. So here, let me share this with you. This is super cool. So I have to. I froze for a second. I just noticed that one of my streams froze for just a second, so I apologize about that. I am still here. Hopefully, you could still hear my voice through that. But let me show you this one. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. I got to show it to you. Talking about World Market. Uh-oh. Maybe that camera died. Let's hope the camera didn't die. Did it die? Bear with me. This is a one-man show. I do all my own effects, all my own stunts. So bear with me just a second. Uh-oh. I think we just had a camera die. I was going to show you something really cool. Let me see if it works. Let me go here. Okay, there's me. Everybody sees me there. Let's go over here. I think the camera's dead. I lost the feed to a camera. Uh-oh. No good. So I can't show you that now. So that kind of sort of stinks. It was all of that government stuff that we were just talking about, Eli. I think they just targeted one of my cameras. I'm not going to get up and fix it right now. But what I was going to show you is this. Let me see if I can reach to you. Almost. I went out and I got really important stuff. Okay. I got I got groceries, I got water, I got coffee. I bought like a couple cases of Monster. So there's no limit on cases of Monster, just FYI, in case you need those. But when I went to World Market, I got something that was more important than any of that stuff, and it's this. My solar-powered Queen. So she's hanging out over here on my shelf of oddities, and that's the tough part, right? So my other camera over here, which I might try to fix in a second, it kind of captures my shelf of oddities. So she gets to hang out right over here. I've got my my waving kitty cat. I've got all that kind of stuff that I keep over here. My Ouija candle, my weirdly weird wacky stuff, my Buddhas, all kinds of other things that I kind of acquire and collect and kind of keep here. But yeah, super important stuff. I got to go out. I got to feel like a normal human being for just a little bit, and then now we're back to crazy, wild, lockdown kind of stuff, which is kind of fun. I've got an Avery sneaking in here again too. She's sneaking in the stream. She saw me talk about the Queen, so she had to come and get the Queen. Eli Helbert, that's exactly right. If you have a lot of downtime, pick up a hobby. I've picked up playing music again and building my website for my intimate portrait business. Yeah, so that's one thing. Let me share that with everybody. And if you don't mind, Eli, if you could, I apologize for not knowing, but if you could comment in some of the link there, I would really appreciate it. Hold on a second. There you go, Avery. Hold on. Got a fun 5-year-old digging through all this stuff on the desk. But what I was going to say there, Eli and his wife both are phenomenal photographers. So please, Eli, if you comment down there how they can get a hold of you, I'll gladly share that. They do some great stuff. They took some pictures for our family when we were kind of visiting over the holidays, and it was awesome. So definitely go check out their stuff. Check on your older family members, FaceTime people. Yeah, for sure. I mean, exactly. Help, don't hide, right? Being away doesn't mean necessarily hiding, right? Jason Belongi, coffee and monsters, man. That's the thing. Look, I was having this conversation the other day. As long as I have coffee, so Starbucks is still open. They're open for now. My fear is that we run out of caffeine. I can survive for quite a while as long as I've got caffeine. I think that's probably going to be the bigger thing for me. Let me see if I can share you. You can somewhat see a little bit of the table of oddities there that I was talking about. So the Queen's hanging out there. We've got Princess Peach. We've got a couple fugglers. We've got my friend Buddha hanging out there. We've got a couple other things and some nice morbid skull glow snow globes and kind of things like that. And I still don't know what's going on with this camera. I'm trying to figure out this wacky camera. So let's see if I can fix it for you real quick. It's not letting me fix the camera for you. Huh. Unfortunately, I guess this camera is just not going to work. Man, oh man, oh man. So I think it finally died. I'm going to have to reboot it to make it work, but we'll give it a shot later. I was hoping to be able to fix my other camera, but it's not working right now. So we are dead in the water with my camera 3. So I was just talking about how we were hoping to acquire some cameras, and those are impossible to find right now. So hopefully that one's not dead, or we're going to be really SOL because we're going to be down to 2 cameras then, and that's not a good place to be in right now when every single high def webcam that you can find, because I'm not running again, this is a one-man show. I'm not running all kinds of wild equipment other than podcasting equipment. I go pretty ham on podcasting equipment, but I'm as far as the live stream stuff, I'm running like Microsoft LiveCam HDs, just business grade stuff. So if I can't get my hands on if I can't get my hands on anything else, it's going to be pretty rough because then we're not going to be able to live stream. It's just going to be my voice and me scrolling over or me talking over some of that stuff that's going on. So it's pretty interesting. So we'll have to see how all that goes. Just checking in on some voicemails I'm getting. Folks calling in and all that kind of fun stuff. Eli Helbert Boudoir by SensorWorks is my boudoir business, and Nicole Helbert Photography for all family photography needs. Those are all on Facebook website, still in the works. So make sure that you go check them out. They are phenomenal. So make sure you go check them out. They do some great stuff. I have some of them posted to my Facebook page. That Nicole actually took, and they're great. They are absolutely awesome. I have not checked those out yet, Eli. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go look because everything that I found has been super backordered. I'm mostly just a quick Amazon, grab something quick from Amazon. So I'm gonna have to go check those out for sure because I have not looked, to be honest with you. I went on a mission over this weekend trying to find some before the Friday live stream that went on. And unfortunately, like I said, I run like GoPros and stuff for some of our other kind of just day-to-day video and vlogs and kind of stuff like that. I'm cheap, so this is a silver, so I don't have HDMI out on it. So it's hard to, again, I have capabilities here to basically convert HDMI and run it in, but no HDMI out. I've got some old DSLRs, but again, I've just, if I need to, I can probably rig something up. I like the ease of plug and play. So just simple little Logitech high def webcams, like the Microsoft Business Grade LifeCam, stuff like that. That's super simple and just plug in and go. I like just being able to pop them in, set up an angle, set them up on a quick little friction arm. That's kind of how I'm running right now. And just run with it. So I'm gonna have to look around. I'll have to check those out. Thanks for the input though, because I have not been able to find. It's weird, right? That's what I'm saying. The time that we're in right now is definitely kind of wacky because it's the weird little things that you just can't find, right? A webcam. You just can't find a webcam right now. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild to not be able to find a webcam of all things. Cody Van Dyke, Eli, and Nicole do fantastic work. Absolutely. Again, check them out. They just awesome stuff. So if you need photography work done, that is definitely two folks that you should get into contact with. If Eli was here with me right now, I've got a feeling that my webcams probably wouldn't be breaking down. He'd probably show me how to fix them. I've been running them too much. I'm gonna have to up the grade. I think I'm gonna have to go with something a little bit more. more. I'm gonna have to up my live stream game to match my podcast game. That's the problem that I'm running into right now. Again, what's going on in your neck of the woods? You can text me, you can call me 480-877-0155. That is the direct line to me here. If I don't answer you, I will definitely answer you through voicemail, send me a text, all that kind of stuff. I'm watching for you. For those folks that have called, for those folks that are out there that have been participating, and I greatly appreciate it. Eli, when the podcast hits big, just hire me as your film crew. I'm good with that. I'm totally good with that. I will tell you that this has become like I've got a lot going on. With the day job, which is the day job, right? That keeps me pretty busy, at least pretty busy. And then so the podcast is kind of like the second job, and then the live stream is like the third job, and then like the video production stuff is like a fourth job. And then so with Avery as well, we've started doing stuff with her because she wants to do videos and kind of do all that kind of stuff. So we've been working on some stuff with her, which we actually just put out on Facebook not too long ago. So if you haven't checked that out, do us a favor, go check that out. It's on my wall. It's in my feed. She wanted to start putting out some vlogs and stuff. So that's like the fifth job. You don't realize how much work actually goes into these things until you actually start trying to produce this kind of content for yourself. It's pretty wild and pretty intense. The podcast is super easy. I think that's probably the easiest part for me. And this actually, the live stream, as long as I'm not having camera issues like my Cam 3 over here, I'm having issues out of it. These are the easier ones because I just get to sit down and I get to have a conversation with you. I get to talk about stuff. The podcast, again, we keep it pretty. We just try to keep it conversational. When I have guests on, that's kind of the behind the scenes look for you here at the Hop Nerd Podcast. It's very rare that I send people any type of questions. If people ask me for questions that they want to be somewhat prepared, I will send them some pretty theme-based questions on things that we'll probably talk about. And folks that have been on the show will tell you that I follow those very loosely. All right, so it's pretty interesting because I think it makes for better content. So for me, this stuff, this getting to talk to you, getting to interact with you this way, getting to take your calls, getting to take your texts, all that kind of fun stuff, kind of on the spot. I think this is the easier part. The harder part for me is the whole social media aspect of it. The harder part for me is getting into and producing content. It's coming up with and setting up all of this stuff to where you can walk into this studio and basically press go live. That's basically what we did, right? Avery and I were at the house, and I'm like, let's get out of the house, and I want to go live. So here we are. We just kind of sort of went live. We've been going live for, I don't know when we even started. I don't even see my timer here. We've been going for a while. I think we've been going for about an hour now, something like that. But yeah, super easy. I mean, this is the easier part for me. You don't realize how much work goes into all the other stuff of trying to produce content, trying to produce produced videos rather than just conversational videos, trying to come up with stuff other than podcasts, all the kind of other stuff that goes with it. I think that's where I really started to realize that it's a pretty wild undertaking to do a lot of this stuff. It's a blast, but it's pretty wild and interesting. So again, how's everything going for you guys out there? I hope you're doing well. Things again here in Phoenix have continued to be a little dynamic. They've continued to change. It's been interesting. It's not been terrible. It's again, shelves are being restocked. Things are happening here in a pretty positive thing. I see a lot of people coming together to help, and again, I'm going to keep preaching that message. Now is a time to help. Right? It's not a time to hide. It's a time to help. It's not a time to hide. It is time to help each other. It's time to come together. This will either bring out the worst in us, or it will be an opportunity for us to demonstrate why we're awesome, why we are an amazing species, or it will give us the fuel to say why we shouldn't be around anymore. Right, so we need to think about that. Cody Van Dyke, I witnessed firsthand a guy try to buy Four Locos with an EBT card. That's the craziest thing I've seen post outbreak. So I think this. I think you should totally be able to do whatever you want with your EBT card, especially right now. If that guy wants to go pound Four Locos, now would be the right time to take off any type of restrictions on an EBT card. So something that's cool that's happening here in Phoenix. The fear is, right, we're shutting down a lot of businesses, which is not good, right? So restaurants have basically went to curbside and drive-through only. The problem is for a Chick-fil-A, for a McDonald's, for a Jack in the Box, for that kind of stuff, okay, shutting down dining rooms probably not that impactful for them. When you take there's a brewery right around the corner from us here, and when you think about them going out and saying, you guys can't come in, you can only do curbside pickup, you're losing a huge income source in alcohol, right? And people really want to drink right now when you're stuck at home. It seems like prime Netflix and day drink territory, but they've loosened a lot of the whatever they had to do here. I don't know what that even looks like. I'd have to look, so I don't want to lie to you. But basically, here's what you can do. I can call up the brewery around the corner right now. I can order the food, but I can also order drinks to go. So how cool is that, right? I can actually order and say, yeah, you know what? Let me get the Four Loko. Probably not a Four Loko. I'd seen some people post some pictures of like some they had picked up like some margaritas to go, right? And how often have you seen that pre-apocalyptic outbreak, right? Not very often. Eli, they're making alcohol to go in places like that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? So that's awesome to see that, that's being able to happen right now. That was, I think it's important, to help try to minimize as much of the panic as we can. I think that's one way that we can do that, is to try to keep some level of normalcy here. Drinks to go, Cody Van Dyke. Yeah, so how cool, right? At least in most of there are states that you can do that in. You haven't been able to do that here, I don't believe, but you can now. So you can right now. You can get drinks to go while you're on lockdown. I keep trying my other camera just because I like it, and it's not working. So I'll just have to go right here, back to my normal screen, until we're done, and hopefully I can fix it before Wednesday, or if we do this tomorrow, before tomorrow. Again, I'm trying to do these things a little bit every day, just so we can feel a little more connected. I know I'm going a little stir crazy. I'm working from home. I'm doing all that kind of stuff, and it's nice just to be able to connect with everyone here. So it's pretty awesome to be able to just jump on here, connect with you, have this conversation with you, see what's going on in your neck of the woods right now. I think it's important that we try to do this as much as we can right now. I think it's super important. I just see breaking right now that President Trump's holding a coronavirus task force briefing. So I don't know. I think this is probably more fun than that. So I'm not going to tune out. Hopefully you don't tune out for the president either. This guy's a little more important. But yeah, the drinks to go thing, I'm digging it. I'm thinking it's cool, man. I like it. I think it's cool. I think that should be a thing normally. And hopefully maybe there's some silver lining here, right? I mean, that's what a lot of us are hoping for. So there's fear, right? For Eli, we can put back on our tinfoil hats. I'll put back on my plague doctor mask for this one, for my conspiratorial stuff here. But it's kind of not conspiracy. Anytime that we have fear, the government typically uses it as an opportunity to take away freedoms, to restrict freedoms. We've seen that definitely post 9/11. I'm not conspiratorial in the fact that I think the government creates it. I think that they just capitalize on the opportunity. That's kind of sort of what they do, right? And they use that to restrict freedom. So there's probably some bad stuff that we're going to have to watch out for, is really where I'm going. But I think on the more positive side of this, maybe it's going to allow us to look at this and go, you know what? Maybe drinks to go is probably not a bad idea. Maybe we could do that normally, right? Why should we not? Why you should totally be able to go to your local brewery, grab a margarita to go. Why not, right? So thanks, coronavirus. That hopefully will help us get to that point. Right. I think we're going to see that work from home is going to be optimized quite a bit from this. I think we're going to see like capacity in our systems, in our internet systems, in our phone systems. I think we're going to see a lot of growth there. So we haven't had to deal with this many people working from home at once. And jackwagons like me on here live streaming, constantly because we're home. Jonathan Croft, that is a sweet mask though. So yeah, exactly. Right. I bought this, for those that missed the story, I bought this back around Halloween time, because I just kind of had this morbid fascination with stuff like this. I'll bring in some stuff for show and tell. If we do this tomorrow, I might bring in my coffee table book. Is seriously, again, don't think any less of me. I'm just kind of one of those weird folks that kind of do this stuff. My coffee table book is like a funeral portrait funeral portrait book. I can't think of what it's called. I think it's called Behind the Veil, and it's seriously that. Like it's funeral portrait photos, which is super interesting. But so yeah, exactly. I love that mask. I would love to get my hands on one that's a little more realistic, and I might have to do that at some point. This is one from Spirit Halloween that I got on clearance. I should have bought a case of them because it was like $1. Right, it's super cool. But it finally, I had no clue. This was me telling the future back in Halloween, right? Either that one, I'm either going to wear that one on the way home, or I'm going to wear this one on the way home. I don't know which one looks cooler in the grocery store. You guys can help me decide which one I should wear at the grocery store, the P100 full face respirator, or if I should wear the wear the plague mask as I go through go through the stores. Eli Halbert, are you ever going to discuss what you do with your day job? I know we can get any detail about nuclear power, but I find the whole process of nuclear power fascinating. So yeah, we can talk into that whenever you guys want to. I don't work directly in nuclear power anymore. I work in fossil generation. So I'm in the fossil gen kind of world. I'm still pretty involved in that world. Yeah, we can talk about that one day for sure. Maybe that might be a really good like call in kind of show. We might have to just plan for that. I know Eli and I have been kind of planning to get together and do a little bit of a do one of these together a little bit at some point, and that might be a good opportunity for that to kind of talk into that world, and we can definitely talk that. We can definitely talk about that. We should definitely do that. Jonathan Croft, I love dead people in a not creepy way. Yeah, same here. I'm in this weird kind of, I don't know. I think it's just fascinating, and I think that it is just fascinating. Death is obviously the biggest question that we have in our lives, right? And I think it's just fascinating. The traditions that have emerged, how much of that is tradition, how much of it is BS, how much of it, again, I would encourage folks to go tune in to Ask a Mortician. That is such an awesome YouTube channel. If you have any curiosity in and around that world at all, I find it super, super interesting, and just weird oddities, old medical stuff. Like, that's kind of the stuff I collect is weird, right? But that's kind of what I do. Cody Van Dyke, Cody VD, Black Plague, Doctor Mask for sure. Exactly. Me and Eli were just kind of going back and forth on the fact that back in the day, they used to stuff this with herbs and flowers because they thought bad air made you sick, and that's how you prevented bad air. Eli Helbert, is a coffee table book you were talking about the old photos when people would set up their dead, take photos with them. I find it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. So it's called The Black Veil. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So if you go to get it on Amazon, you're not going to get it for like a month right now. But I was going to pull up my Amazon app, and I can tell you it's either called The Black Veil or Behind. I think it's called Behind the Veil. The Ask the Mortician channel that I was just telling you about, that's how I found the book, because I had actually purchased this lady's book, and I had seen that where it's like, hey, bundle these together. And I was like, oh, for sure. I'm definitely going to bundle these together because this looks amazing. Yeah. There it is. Okay, I found it. It's Behind the Dark Veil, right? So if you're looking for it, that's kind of sort of what it looks like, right? That's kind of sort of what it looks like. I'll do this. Let me see if I can do this for those folks out there that are as weird and as creepy as I am. Hopefully I don't get all kind of wacky here. Bear with me. Let's see if this works. Let's see. You ready? Here we go. Let's try that. So, let's see. Watch the comments and see if that pops up. I just submitted it to the comment feed, so there's probably a little bit of a lag there. But I just submitted it, and so you should see the link popping up in the comments if you're interested in it. It's a really cool read, and it's exactly what you're thinking it is. There, Eli. It's from the description: Beyond the Dark Veil, Postmortem and Morning Photography. 120 extraordinary and haunting photographs. It's in the Victorian era, the early 20th century. It's supplemented by original newspaper articles, clippings, funeral notices. It's kind of all that stuff, and it's just really, really interesting. It's just a really, really, really interesting read, and just kind of a flip through if you're kind of looking through that. I have 2 coffee table books for those that are interested. It's that one, right? It's that one, and there is another one that is called, what is it? It's like a bar book, and it's called it's Death and Company. So it's Death and Company, which is a great book as well. If you're into drinks, which I mean right now, right? We're just talking day drinking and getting drinks to go. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. Let me double check. So I just don't want to lie to everybody here. Yeah, Death and Company. So I have Death and Company, which is this one is a cocktail book. So if you want to check that one out, right? That's a pretty cool read as well. So I have that one. So it's kind of cocktails and kind of general stuff like that. And then I have the morning photographs and the the morbid kind of photographs there, which again super super cool. Eli Albert, I've always wanted an original grave bell, but I can't. Yeah, those are pretty wild. I'm sure you know what that is. Yeah, exactly. But they would put for those out there that don't know, I'll put what Eli put so you know what a grave bell is. They would put a string in your casket and put a bell on a stand. If you were buried alive, you could ring the bell and they would dig you back up. It was at a time they didn't embalm, and you could have been in a slight coma and wake up later. Cool as hell, I think. Yeah, same. I'm macabre when it comes to that stuff too. Yeah, I think all those are pretty wild. There's a story out there. There used to have grave guns too. If you want to look up, and there's some stuff in circulation about folks accidentally being shot by grave guns, right? Going to visit their loved ones, and the grave gun was actually put in place to catch grave robbers, right? To kill grave robbers as they were kind of trying to dig you up. And you kind of seen that too with kind of the grave coverings, the grave kind of cast iron, wrought iron stuff that would go over those graves too to keep out grave robbers. It was such a different time, right? You're not really thinking about it so much now. It's really interesting because a lot of the stuff, if you tune in to Ask a Mortician, there's really the legal requirements around like embalming and different stuff. It's a whole lot looser than what the funeral industry leads you to believe, which is super cool. So the whole natural burial, like all those are possible. All that thing is very possible. But back in the day, as Eli kind of alluded to here, maybe dead wasn't so dead. Right back then, nowadays, if you're pronounced dead, you could be dead with certainty, right? At least some level of certainty, as compared to what it was back then. So there's a lot of kind of weird, wacky stories about people being buried alive, and that's one of the ones that gives me like the kind of skin crawl kind of moments. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So I'd shared with you the book Behind the Veil in the comments. I just tried to share with you the Death and Company book too. So if you're into those kind of things, those are both super interesting books. Haunting of Connecticut, first time I seen the Book of the Dead. Yeah, so those are pretty common practices. I've been to several where that still happens. I don't know if it's like a back home mountain thing. I've still see that. I've not seen it so much here, but I've still seen that where it's like, oh, they look great in the casket. Let me take a picture of them. I don't understand. But maybe 100 years from now they'll be in a sweet Book of the Dead. Right, like what we're just talking about. So it's a pretty interesting thing. Yeah, so I like that one. I definitely like the other books. There's a few out there. I was trying to think of. I cannot think of the name of the book. Let me see if I can find it, because if you're into, I think reading right now, this is probably a good opportunity if you want to try to get your hands on some books. It's probably a good time to be reading with everything. With everything that's going on. I apologize. I'm trying to find this book. I cannot find it. But let me look. Hold on. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of great books. Let me see. Let's see. So, the Ask a Mortician kind of series of books. No one looks great in a casket. Exactly, right? For some reason, people for some reason think that's a great photo opportunity. Different cultures, right? I think that was probably something in rural Appalachia that was probably pretty common too. To do that. To take pictures. You see a lot of those pictures kind of float around during the Victorian area. Again, that's where these books come from mostly. If you want to look up Caitlin Doty, she is the Ask a Mortician person behind that channel. Doty, Caitlin Doty. She has one that's called From Here to Eternity, which is, I haven't read that one. She has one that is called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and Other Lessons from the Crematory, which is kind of interesting. And then she also has, this is the one that I'd ordered with this other book, was Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Big Questions from Tiny Mortals About death. So it's basically where, kids have questions about stuff, and these are the questions that she's received from kids. And I guess, will my cat eat my eyeballs is probably a pretty interesting question. If you're young, I mean, it's a pretty interesting question to me. Will my cat eat my eyeballs? But no one looks great in a casket, but I'm still intrigued by it. I am too. I think it's interesting. Again, I think that's why I find we kind of went off in a little bit of a side tangent talking about this stuff. Again, that's kind of the point of what we're doing here. We're just having fun. This isn't anything official. We're just hanging out, having fun, getting together, trying to have some community and stuff during this time of the coronavirus, COVID-19, all locked up in our houses. But so anything's on the table. We kind of went into some of my nerd path, which is this. I think it is cool. I am intrigued by it too. I think it's more of the tradition, where the tradition comes from, how we got to that point of doing things this way, our relationship with those things as different communities, as different cultures. I think it's pretty interesting to see all of that stuff that's kind of happened. So how are you dealing with the coronavirus as we talk death and doom and funeral portraits and kind of all of this stuff that's going on right now? It might be, it's either a probably a very not, well, I guess it is a kind of a fitting topic with the times that we live in. But how are you doing? How are you staying sane out there? What are you into? What are your hobbies? Eli had mentioned earlier in the comments that he was hanging out. He was getting more into music, getting back into music. I'm working from home, so in between doing that, I'm investing time here. I'm staying here in the afternoons and working on stuff for you guys. I'm trying to get more into video. I'm trying to learn some more video stuff that I'm not super familiar with. I'm not a video person. I'm an audio guy, so I'm learning video. We're doing all that kind of fun stuff, which has been a blast. We're just spending time together. I think that's a big piece. I think that there is some positive here, as families, we're spending time with our families more than what we normally have gotten to, which is great. That's a good thing. That's probably a really good thing. We're learning that we can work and hang out with our families at the same time, which is pretty cool. It seems like we would learn that a long time ago, but we haven't, and we are learning that thing. So I think there's quite a bit of positive there that we're starting to learn. Again, this is the Hop Nerd live show. This is an off normal thing for us. We're not on Mondays, right? I'm hoping it's Monday. I've been saying it's Monday all day. Yeah, it's Monday, March the 23rd. We're not on Mondays. We're doing this thing to kind of come together as a community, to come together as people and just talk about whatever you want to. Again, my live streams, HOP stands for Human Organizational Performance. I'm a safety practitioner. I'm a human organizational performance practitioner. That's mostly the stuff that I focus on our live shows. Everything's on the table. We'll talk safety. We'll talk work. We'll talk culture. We'll talk all that stuff. And we'll talk everything else in between. And I think that right now, these little kind of get-togethers, and that's all that this is. I'm going to try, because again, I keep saying I have commitment issues. I'm not going to do this every single day, but I might, right? So you might see me here tomorrow. Who knows? Probably, right? You'll definitely see me on Wednesday, because we do these at 5. My significant other, Jarrell Belongi, RN, will be back on Wednesday's show, and we'll be here answering your questions, talking COVID-19. What else is there to talk about right now? This is everything that's taking up the news. And then we're also here on Fridays. We're here at Fridays at 8 p.m. That's our late night show. And I'll take these things as long as you guys want to take them, or till I run out of stuff to talk about. Right? That's kind of sort of what we do. Hopefully by then I've been ranting because my camera broke and I can't find them. Right? This camera was just running when we started, and now it's giving me all these flashing lights of death. So hopefully it's not done. Eli Helper, bring back the old band days of the Foreshadows or Dark Room. I still have our 3-song demo. Yes, me and Eli played music together way, way, way back when. I think that was probably the first get together of playing music for me. That's the one thing I've been trying to do a little bit too. I've been trying to connect back with music more than what I have. I pour a lot of time into this stuff. One thing that I kind of pride myself on is being the punk rock of industry a little bit. So I've been dedicating more of my punk rock into work. And trying to make work more punk rock. That's why I show up. You don't see many suits and tie mohawks very often. But trying to make the world a better place to work, and doing that by being kind of the punk rock safety guy, by being the hop nerd. But yeah, I think we should, man. I would love to kind of get back in more into music than where I have been lately. I just haven't had the time, so I think that's something that I'm going to try to work on too, kind of more in my downtime. The gyms are closed, so you can't do that. You can go outside and go for a walk. The malls are closed, the restaurants are closed, all the social places are closed. So you got to do something. So I think music is probably a really great thing to do. Music, catch up on some reading, catch up on some Netflix, right? I finally got to go back and watch Chernobyl. Speaking of kind of nuclear stuff, we are just talking. I got to watch some Chernobyl stuff, which that was kind of cool. The HBO miniseries, I still hadn't watched it. I finally sat down and watched it. And then all the other stuff I think is just great just to have time to do stuff like this. I think this is, again, that's one reason why I'm trying to do these, is because I want us to get together. I want us to hang out a little bit. I want to have a place to where, again, this is probably more for me than it even is for you, just to have a place to get together and have a little bit of community and have some discussion about whatever you want to talk about. Again, I'm The Hop Nerd. You can head over to www.thehopnerd.com. You can follow along on all things social media at The Hop Nerd, except for Twitter. It's The Hop Nerd 1. And I barely scratch the surface of Twitter, just FYI. I just don't like it that much. I'm like the only person on the planet that doesn't like Twitter for some reason. You can follow along on YouTube at The Hop Nerd. We have a channel there. Tons of videos that I'm putting up. Tons. These live streams are housed there too. If you want to go back and check them out, I usually our main live streams I put over on the pod too, so you can check those out. Again, go check out the podcast. It's The Hop Nerd. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Full episodes are Mondays and Fridays. Those are anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Right? They don't much go over an hour. And then Wednesdays I have a little brief mini episode that goes about 5 minutes, less than 10 minutes. Most somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. So if you want something to do, you want something to listen to, you want something to check out, head over to those. Again, I'm going to keep doing these too. I'm going to shoot for doing some as many as I can, just because I like it. It's fun. I like hanging out. I like catching up with you guys and gals out there and everybody out there. I like hanging out. I like answering questions. I like having fun. So we've been going for quite a while now. Anything else you want to talk about, let me know. I'm getting ready to go soon. I'm getting ready to put this one in the books here in a few minutes. Of all things, here's more rant. I get to rant to you a little bit. Of all things that happens, and before we go for it, this is how I gauge when to quit. So when this gets down to there, then it's going to be over. Just FYI. Of all things that had to happen yesterday, we come out, and so just about everyone out there listening knows Jarrell. You've seen Jarrell on the show. Jarrell's my significant other. We all kind of come out. One thing that we know is we all kind of came out in the garage yesterday to kind of get groceries and stuff that we'd taken. Right, I told you earlier on we'd went to Sam's Club and Walmart and done all that stuff before kind of Arizona froze. But we come out and flat tire. Right? So I definitely have to be done soon because we're going to Big O Tires here in just a little bit. Not plugging them. I'm more of a discount tire man myself, but he chose Big O. So we're getting ready to go back, throw a spare on his car, and go get a tire fixed in the middle of the apocalypse. Of course that's when that's going to happen, right? Of course you're going to have a flat tire in the middle of an apocalypse. Of course you're going to have the sidewall split on a tire in the middle of an apocalypse. That's of course when it's going to happen. Right, so we're getting ready to go do that in just a little bit. But as I said, this is the real gauge of when things happen. For the late show, I usually do one of these Animonster, so you kind of have double the time. Cody Van Dyke, government shutting down fake vaccines for coronavirus. The world we live in. Yeah, I think that is crazy. So, again, I don't get political. I don't get religious with this stuff. But I think it's kind of wacky. The folks that are selling the what was the holy water that cures the coronavirus? I had seen that. I seen that not too long ago. I think the government got involved in that one. Going to sell holy water to cure the coronavirus. So I don't know where everyone stands a little bit different religiously. But I don't think no matter how you slice it, stupid is stupid, right? So if you're drinking holy water thinking you're not going to get coronavirus, you might sort of deserve it. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but I think we can. Natural selection, I think, is the legal term for that. I think that is the approved PC term, as we will say, natural selection. So if you're going to drink the holy water and just think that you're good, Do so at your own risk. Again, we don't give any medical advice here. You can tune back into the last episode if you want the medical disclaimer. I'll give it one of those on Wednesday before we talk anything coronavirus. But yeah, I think that is wild. That is the world we live in. We also live in the world of people that are going to see this as the opportunity to make a bunch of money and harm people at the same time, which doesn't seem very good either, right? They're going to hoard up a bunch of crap, and then they're going to try to resell it to you. And I've seen that there was some crackdown on that. Look, people, there's only one way to put it, man. There's people out there that are shitheads, right? I think that's probably about all you can say. There are people out there that just aren't too great. And I don't think, no matter what you do, they're going to find ways to continue to be terrible people, right? No matter how hard the government cracks down on that, there's still going to be people out there that are selling you snake oil or holy water and telling you that it's going to cure the coronavirus. I think from our place is where we really need to educate, right? People are pathetic. Cody Van Dyke. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's where we need to call out BS when we see it, just like that, right? And I think we really need to try our best to educate the folks that are in our circles. Look, I'm not picking on older people. I'm not gonna pick on the okay boomer generation out there. But it's statistically proven that they fall for this crap a lot, right? They get the stuff. They see the stuff on Facebook like, if you don't reshare 20 times, then someone is going to come to your house from the government and Facebook, and they're going to delete your Facebook forcefully. So then they reshare it 20 times. They really believe it. Like there's a message from someone that has nothing to do with Facebook into your inbox that says, if you don't respond to this, Facebook is doing a survey to check active Facebooks, and if you don't respond, we'll assume that you're not active, and we're going to delete this. Right? And they fall for it. They do every single time in that kind of generation and up. They just see that and they go, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. So I think we have, at least from our generations, we have the duty. Let's look at it that way. We have the duty to try to keep them out of trouble as much as we can, because those people out there are going to prey on them in these situations. They definitely are, right? There's going to be people that are scared, and they're not going to understand that people are going to take advantage of them, and they're going to see that person on television say, "Look, for $19.95, I will send you this packet full of holy water, and you will be coronavirus free no matter what. You can go about your daily life." That crap's going on. It's definitely happening right now. It's still going on. It was going on before. Don't get me wrong. We've all seen the stupid, I can't even think of his name, the guy that's been peddling holy water on television forever. He's been on there trying to sell holy water forever, right? But now it's the magical holy water that cures coronavirus. So we really have to try to put ourselves in a position, at least from our generations, to try to act as, number one, call out BS when we see BS. Call out, I hate this term, but fake news. Call out fake news when we see fake news. And I think most out there do a pretty good job of that, at least from our age groups, our generations. And then for those folks that are more susceptible to believing those scams, to buying into that stuff, the people that are a little more vulnerable, I think that's our place to be a little more, it's our duty to be a little more involved and say, hey, that's crap, don't fall for that. You know, when we see that stuff that gets shared around, when we see those things out there, when we have the family member that's saying, oh, look, I'm going to order some of this holy water crap, I think it's going to be awesome. Right? We should probably, you kind of sort of shouldn't. That's probably not the best use of $19.95. We can go down to Walmart right now and I can get you some matches, and get you some beanie weenies, and I can get you a respirator, and I can get you some nitro gloves, and you're apocalypse proofed already. You're ready to, you're more prepared than 95% of people out there. And this goes a whole lot farther than the little packet of holy water you're going to get. Cody Van Dyke, baby boomers have the best work ethic, but lack the ability to be open-minded. For sure, right? They I'm not picking on their work ethic by any means. They're those folks that would have. It's different, right? And I run into that in a lot of my line of work, dealing with kind of organizational culture and organizations and just work. And my motto, my organization, the Hop Nerd or Hominem LLC. Our mission is to make the world a better place to work. That's what we do. We just want to make the world a better place to work. And I think that one thing that I've seen is there's such a difference, right, People pick on millennials quite a bit and say they don't like to work. Well, that's not true. I've seen millennials be some of the hardest workers out there. The difference is we desire different things out of life, right? It seems like most of those folks from that boomer generation, they will work and work and work and work no matter what, right? They will do it no matter what, right? You give them decent wage, good benefits, be halfway decent to them, and they are going to be loyal to you to a fault, and they will not leave until it's time to retire. And our generation is not so much. We're kind of a little different. We want we want this whole. I can speak to myself. We have more of like we work places 35 years and then we move on. You know, those generations work there for life usually, right? They were the start there, retire there kind of generations. For us, we were more of like the. I'm watching the Avery down here, my 5-year-old. She's throwing pillows at the television she's watching right now. I'll spin around and show her to you in just a second. But we need different things, right? We need purpose. We need to feel like we're contributing. We want to be part of change. We want to be part of different stuff. So yeah, there's differences there. I think that's really what I'm trying to say is there's massive differences there. So for sure that work ethic is definitely there. But they do have some of that issue with going, okay, this is different. We like change. It seems like we like change, right? Our generation seems to like change quite a bit. We just jump in and say, let's change it. Why? I don't know, because I'm tired of it, right? And some of those other generations, not so much. So that open-mindedness, I think, plays into that. And it just seems like they're more susceptible to those kind of scams. And it's not that it seems like it's proven, right? There's some research, there's some studies out there that I don't have in front of me, obviously. But if you want to go look up those statistics, they're pretty interesting. That they have a pretty good click-through rate of that stuff of saying, oh my God, I got a message from somebody at Facebook. They said if I don't reply and click this link and go give them my credit card information, then they're going to assume that my Facebook is inactive and they're going to delete it. I got to do it. Somebody called me on the phone from Walmart and they said that they have a check for me and I need to go, but I need to send them $5 first through my debit card, and then they'll send me $5,000 check. That's totally real, right? And we hear that and go, what the WTF, right? WTF? How did you fall for that? Why did you really thought that, right? And we go, what the heck? So again, we have to be stewards there a little bit. It's our duty to say, listen, we're the generation that grew up kind of in between. At least I can speak to that, right? Most of the folks that are commenting now, I know several of you. Most of the folks that I communicate with, you understand that too. That we kind of grew up in the in between, right? We kind of grew up in that space, like right before. I remember not having computers and obviously having computers. Right, I remember computers not being the norm, and then holy crap, this is kind of cool. It's like this big, it takes this big floppy disk thing, and you can play what was the submarine game, like the Wolf submarine game thing on there. You could play that, right? And then to go from that to where we're at now, the generations kind of after us are kind of born with all that stuff, had all that stuff, blah 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 blah, and then obviously the generation before just didn't have it until later in life, which I'm sure all that has something to do with it. But that being our generation of kind of knowing both worlds. Right, we need to be in that position because we know both worlds to kind of mentor and teach those folks, and hopefully they'll be open to that and saying, "Hey, listen, that gift card that person from Walmart is sending you, they're not from Walmart. They're trying to steal your credit card information. It should be a duh moment." Eli Hubbard, work smarter, not harder. Exactly. Cody Van Dyke, I also agree, though it's impossible to reinvent the wheel for sure. Absolutely. So yeah, I think it's interesting times that we live in. It's going to be big for us. Again, back to what we're saying, back to the key points. I'm going to keep saying every single day is a time for helping. It's not a time for hiding. Right? It might be a time for being distanced, but we can still help from a distance. I promised you that I would show you what's going on in front of me, and let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh, let's see. There she is. There she is, watching some television, trying to balance on a foam roller. Let's use showed her trying to balance on a foam roller there, and watch some television in the headphones because you didn't see her before because she backflipped off of this. So this brings that whole working from home, kids out of school thing. That brings it all. This is it. This is what that looks like. right? You make it work. You make it happen. I think a lot of folks are doing that right now. Pretty interesting times that we're in right now. But we're having a lot of fun. Me and Avery's been hanging out for quite a while. We've been doing all kinds of stuff. There she is. Say hi. You gonna dance? You gonna say hi to everybody? She. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing over here. We're hanging out. We're having fun. We're hanging out at the Hop Nerd Studios, getting ready to go home in just a little bit. I told you guys that when this thing runs out, I'm done. That's my gauge. That's what I'm going to use as my gauge. We're almost done. We're getting ready to go home in just a second. We're going to call it a day, do some other stuff, try to fix that stupid tire that I was just telling you about. Again, I'm doing these things. They're a little different than what we normally do. We're not just talking hop. We're not just talking safety. We're not just talking work stuff. I just wanted to do this as a platform, as an opportunity to get folks together, have some community. You know, folks are feeling lonely out there, and I get that, man. I mean, I didn't realize how hard this would be psychologically. You know, over the past weekend, and then into this week, I have seen, you know, other than going out and getting groceries, and that doesn't count. You don't really see people, at least where I live, you don't see people you know very often, right? We live in a pretty large city, so it's pretty rare to see those folks. Bump into folks that you know. So other than my immediate family, I haven't seen anybody face to face anytime relatively soon. So it's been pretty wild. It's been pretty wild for me to not see folks, right? To not be around folks. So again, this is probably more for me than it is for you, but I think hopefully you enjoy it too. I think we're having fun. So I'm going to try to do these things as much as we can. I'm going to try to do one probably. We'll shoot for the same time tomorrow. If you guys think 1 o'clock is cool, well, that's 1 o'clock my time. I don't know. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 4 o'clock your time? I think something like that. What is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 6:42. Is that what it is there right now? Something like that. I think you guys are 3 hours ahead on the East Coast. California, I think, is the same time as us. I'm just trying to think everywhere in between. But Eli Hubbard, I appreciate your channel and live streams. Breaks up the monotony of my night shift job and all the COVID news. Not many places where you can go and talk everything from the dead, health and safety, and everything in between. I will support you in whatever ways I can. I appreciate it, Eli. I look forward to having you on at some point, man. I think that's going to be fun. We were kind of scheming about that a little bit in the background, trying to get Eli on to review some beers. I think that would be a fun thing to do, to talk beers. And exactly, you kind of hit the nail on the head with what I'm trying to do with these. You know, my podcast, it's organizational performance, it's human performance, it's all that kind of stuff in between, it's safety, it's all those folks, it's talking to folks that are in industry, talking to folks that I find to be interesting in and around industry and all that kind of stuff. That's mostly what the live streams are, with a touch of life. And then with these normal, say hi Avery, with these normal kind of, or with these abnormal live streams. Huh? Oh, really? Make music. Oh, no. Let me hear while you record. Oh, does it? I'll have to fix that in a minute. I'll fix it, okay? I messed up her TV show. We'll fix that in a second. I'm almost done, okay? Give me 5 minutes, we'll be done. Because you're recording and there's music. We're almost done. Just pause it for just a second. This is working from home, isn't it? This is hanging out with Dad, working from home. So there's the real life. Everybody got to have fun with Avery. Got to have fun with me today. We're getting ready to get done. Right, we're finishing up. But what I was saying is exactly. I think that doing these things, trying to make these things happen on a pretty frequent basis, just to get folks together, just to be able to have the conversation, or at least have the opportunity to have the conversation. To where if you want to call somebody, you can call that number, 480-877-0155. You can give me a call. You can shoot me a text. You can jump in the comments. I'm watching the comments. At least between Facebook and YouTube, I watch the comments. You can send me an email. I haven't checked this, so hopefully nobody sent me any super thing, anything crazy important through email. But I think it's just having the conversation. It helps us be connected in this time of disconnection. It helps us not be isolated while we're distanced. It lets us have the conversation, lets us share news, as Eli said, share all this kind of super important stuff that we need to continue to do in this time. It lets us feel connected even though we're apart. So that's all I've got for today. I'm going to jump off here. I've kept you here for a really long time, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. See this? Ready? Hold on. It's gone, so we're done. It's over. It's over. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow. I'll commit that to you, at least that far ahead. I will connect with you one way or another tomorrow. Even if I can't get to you here, as long as there's internet, I will come to you live from the house if I have to. But we will do this thing tomorrow around the same time. I'll get a little loose there, but I'll say around the same time. So I appreciate you tuning in. I thank you for being a part of this thing. I've had an absolute blast with you, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you tomorrow. This is Sam Goodman, the Hop Nerd, signing out. You want to come say bye, Avery? No. She said no, so she doesn't want to say bye, but I'll say bye. Can you say it louder? Avery says bye, so we'll say bye, everybody, bye.